Hi there, this is Dalton with PB, and we're going to be talking about what even is a Series A versus a seed round. So PB, you want to start us off? What is the difference?
Sure. So the key way we think about it is product market fit. So once you've made something that people want and you're ready to actually grow to a large company, that's where you should do a Series A.
Yeah, and most founders, when they think of fundraising, they think of seed and safes. Can we just break down some of that terminology? Like, what is a seed? What is a pre-seed?
I'm not sure what a pre-seed is, honestly. I think the main way I think about it, and especially as it relates to, say, Y Combinator, is Y Combinator helps you go 0 to 1. You have an idea, maybe not even an idea,
Yeah.
and helps you to get on track, thinking about what is it the customer wants, how do you discover who the customer is, and once you've made it to that point where you have something, people are buying it, you are able to continue selling, you have a repeatable process, that's when you're ready to do a Series A and take it from 1 to infinity, which is where Standard comes in.
So let's talk about the pre-seed thing a little bit. So I think what's going on is that there were old terms like Series A and seed. And as the venture ecosystem has gotten bigger and bigger, people have tried to carve out different parts of it. And so traditionally in a seed round, it was expected that you knew what your idea was. And pre-seed was like a term invented for when you're too early to even know what your idea is or have a single customer or even a prototype. I think that's what that means.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
But it seems like I remember talking to founders, YC founders back in the day, and they'd be like, well, how do we position ourselves? That word position comes up a lot on these different relative terminologies. I also think pre-seed is usually really low valuations. It's all relative, but I think sub $10 million.
Yeah,
And
I
seed is
sometimes
bigger.
think maybe investors invented pre-seed to justify lower valuations.
That's fair. One of the things that we've noticed in the market is that a lot of the seed rounds are very big. And so famously, some of these new AI labs, like what are the sizes of the seeds?
That's 2 billion maybe for
Thinking machines.
thinking machines, yeah.
Yeah. And so the nomenclature has got even weirder when you read about seed rounds they're billions of dollars.
I actually think that one makes sense though, in the context of they don't have a product. Arguably, maybe it's a pre-seed.
Well, they're working on the idea, so that's fair. Yeah. Do you think other investors would agree with our terminology that product market fit is Series A, or do you think they would have a completely different definition here?
I don't know if they would disagree. A lot of times people have maybe a revenue target in mind, but clearly, the revenue is not the only factor. It's easy to have a lot of revenue and actually not have product market fit. If, for example, you're just selling things at a loss. It's easy to grow revenue if you're selling $1 for 50 cents. And at the same time, you may have no revenue, but actually have product market fit, but maybe you're in a space with regulation where it's going to take a while before you can actually recognize revenue.
That's actually a great point. We've led a Series A, I can think of at least one, I'm sure there's more, where the founders don't have revenue, but they've accomplished something amazing. And, it's not announced yet, so we probably shouldn't give too many details, but they have customer traction and have done very hard things. Thus, has enough PMF for a Series A, but revenue alone doesn't tell the story.
Absolutely. So the way I like to think about it is actually just the Y Combinator slogan of make something people want. Series A is once you've made something people want and you're ready to scale that business.
Yeah. And maybe last question on this topic. If a founder wants to fundraise, what should they say? Like, should they say pre-seed or seed? Or basically, if you're a founder watching this video, how do you know what right words to use to convince investors?
So I think you have to be honest with yourself. First of all, do you believe in the product? Do you have an idea? Are you ready to scale? And then, of course, it's also just going to depend on how connected you are and what your options are.
And is there a benefit for raising a Series A versus just raising seed rounds over and over and over again? Because some people do that. Is that smart or is...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Series A is a market validation.
Yeah.
It shows that you've achieved that milestone. And in particular, I think it's valuable for hiring. A lot of times, I think in many cases, the optimal thing for an employee, the right time to join a startup is right around the Series A. Because before Series A, you're taking a lot of risk in terms of maybe they don't even have the product figured out yet. And by the time you're, let's say, Series D, the company's probably pretty big. The amount of equity you're going to get and the amount of impact opportunity you have is going to be much less. And so Series A, I think, is actually like a great inflection point for employees who are ambitious to join the company.
That's a good point, because it's always tricky when someone's asking if they should take a job offer at a seed stage company, because the first question I always ask is, do they have product market fit?
Yeah.
And if they don't, I'm like, well, maybe. Do you love the founders? Like I'll have follow-up questions for them.
For sure.
All right. Thanks so much, PB.
Thanks.